Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Bearded Brother Podcast. I'm Gary, the Bearded Woodworker.
And I'm Andrew, the Bearded Giant. We're a couple of YouTubers and content creators, and we're going to talk about our experiences as content creators and makers. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. So let's start off, Andrew.
Okay, let's talk about something.
Let's talk about something. What you been doing this week?
I have been basically focusing a lot on my solar panel project. They were able to come out and install the solar panels, and then the electricians were able to come out and replace my electrical panel this last weekend. And in doing so, they ripped up some sheetrock around the electrical panel, and they had to replace the box that my meter was mounted to because some pin was loose or something. But in doing so, they damaged the trim around the meter box. So I've been re-sheetrocking the small area around my panel inside the garage, and then I made some trim out of a scrap 2x4 for around the meter outside.
Yeah. So since this is in the garage, are you going to actually mud and tape your,
Well, so okay, my background, I was a painting contractor and I know how to tape and mud, but I chose not to. And I simply made very clean cuts and butted the sheetrock up to the other sheetrock and then caulked it with painter's tape.
Oh, okay. And then the screw heads you kind of caulked?
No, I just left the screw heads, and I put 2 coats of primer over the sheetrock, so it's white now, whereas the rest of my garage is dingy white, and this is bright white.
Right. Kudos for you to go as far as in to make nice seams and caulk at least and put on primer or paint.
Yeah.
I despise drywall. I don't know. I just kind of suck at it. I haven't got the mix down on the mud yet, and I watch videos. I watch guys, they make it look easy. Oh, you're supposed to thin it down. You put on a thin coat, then you put on the paper, then you feather it up, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. No, I suck at it. So if it was in the garage, my situation, I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah. In the house, I would have taped and mudded, and I would have thinned down the mud greatly and skim coated it, and then lightly sand it and skim coat it, lightly sand it and skim coat it. And you get a really nice finish by doing that.
Yeah.
But I had no desire to go through that effort. And the rest of the sheetrock in my garage is dinged and full of holes, and previous homeowners just globbed, looks like toothpaste over holes, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
So I have a very small, like 2 foot wide by 9 foot tall section that's really clean and bright and smooth. And then the rest of my garage walls are dinged up with holes and random odd patch jobs. So
maybe
it actually looks good in the one corner.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Good job for doing that. I know how sometimes projects can get left behind for a while.
Yeah. Well, yeah, part of the reason too is either later this week or next week, the city inspector or county inspector will come out and inspect the panel work.
Oh. And they probably are expecting no holes and no exposed wires.
Yes. They expect the wall to have a minimum fire rating, and that requires sheetrock. So it now meets the minimum fire rating.
So the wall that it's on in your garage, is it the one in between the house and the garage?
No, it's it faces the driveway.
Okay.
But it's
so you didn't need to have the double fireproofing drywall or something. Some codes are. Okay.
No.
Good.
No, it's not a bad idea though.
Yeah.
To be honest, if I were to build a garage from scratch, I would put 1/2 inch plywood and then 1/2 inch sheetrock over the top of it.
So you
And
have
that,
something to nail and screw things into?
yes, you would have the fire rating from the sheetrock and then the mounting structure of the plywood underneath it.
Yeah.
Whereas in my shed, you can see my walls are plywood, and I did that so I can mount things to it, just
Yeah.
randomly at will, drill and screw into the wall.
Yeah. That's a perfect idea.
Yeah,
And I
but
know for a fact behind that plywood you got there is what, 2-inch pink foam
yes,
insulation?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have any handy, but yes, there's a video out there of me insulating the shed, and it's the pink rigid foam insulation. And in the walls, it's 1.5 inches, and the ceiling is 2 inches, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And then I
Yeah.
use the spray foam to seal all the gaps. It actually keeps it very warm in the winter and cool in the summer.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it works.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Works well.
Good. Well, that's exciting. Let's
Yeah.
hope the inspector can get in there soon, because once he passes, then what? Just flick a switch, or like
One more inspection after that. Well, it's the county to inspect, and then once they pass it, then Portland General Electric, the utility company, will come out and inspect. And then once they approve, then I can turn it on. So because I'm doing net metering, the utility company wants to approve it before the customer back feeds electricity onto the grid, which makes sense.
nice.
I would, if I was a utility company, I would want that too. You don't want some Yahoo out there back feeding the grid in some unsafe manner.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then there's a Northwest Energy Coalition that's going to come out and do an inspection, but that's not to turn it on. That's just for a small rebate. So there'll be a federal rebate, state rebate, and the Northwest Energy Coalition or something. Even though that's the smallest rebate of all of them, they actually want to look at it. And that's fine. They can come look.
Yeah.
As long as they give me money.
As long as they give you money.
Tell
That's
me
right.
Benjamin.
Woohoo! I believe it was last week that I finished putting in the final replacement windows in the whole house here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So you guys might not know, Andrew's my brother-in-law. I married his sister, and we're living in his mother's house. And did you come down with Uncle Mike and help with a couple of these windows? So
Yeah.
all the old windows have been taken out and replaced with more efficient vinyl double pane windows.
Yep.
And they were one that was upstairs in the studio area, and Alex's small 3 windows in his bedroom needed to be replaced, and I had done those. Matter of fact, I've got a video on Alex's window. But the last one was in that storage area in the garage. And I finally got that together. I just need to throw some trim on the outside, caulk it and everything. I'm getting ready for painting the house. So that was one of the last things that need to be done. That and a few other door moldings that need to be replaced, primed and stuff. So
yeah, my uncle Mike and I, well, okay, he and then I assisted him. He's a journeyman carpenter and instructor for the union, or was before he retired. So he's a skilled carpenter. He replaced the bay window in your living room. And is that bay window actually 3 windows? Or does it just look like it's 3 windows? I don't remember. I seem to feel like it was 3 windows that we installed in the front.
If it was 3 windows, they go together seamlessly. Like there's not trim around each
Yeah.
individual window. It is like 4 or 5 foot by 9 or 10 foot. It's large.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are 2 sections on the side because they have sliders on the bottom, and then there's one big one in the middle. But I actually don't know if it's 3 individual windows put together in one or if it's just one. The outside and the inside trim piece is one frame around the whole entire.
I don't remember.
So,
I just remember it was big.
yeah, then it must be one unit if it's big. It is big.
Yeah.
It is big.
So, oh shoot.
But I've done that here, and then I finished up my mural. If you guys don't know, I'm actually a mural painter by trade as well, and I've been down in Winchester Bay, where Jason from Northwest Sawyer goes down and plays all the time. His family go down to their condo down there. I haven't seen him yet. I don't know if he's been down. He's been pretty good about sticking around during the COVID-19 pandemic we're having going on, but. I was in a closed park that I started painting, and I've been sneaking down on sunny days, and I just finished up it last Thursday, I think it was. And then I go down on Wednesday to clear coat it and finish taking down the scaffolding. So that's kind of what I've been up to. I haven't been doing any videos here, which is too bad.
Does my face look real red?
Red, it does, and it's looked red. It's looked red in other videos too, which I'm assuming it's the sun is coming in and reflecting off of your pink insulation, or
No,
you have a red cover over the doors.
Yeah. So I repurposed what do you call it? French doors.
Yeah.
For my garage doors or for the shed doors. And I had plastic over the windows to make it sort of so you can't look in and see the tools.
Yeah.
So I bought some spray on window tint or fog
diffuser kind of thing, or
thing. Yeah. But they had like the choice of red and green, but no like white or crystal color. I did the red, and it just turned into a pink mess.
Yes.
So then I took simply white spray paint and sprayed over the red, and now it's this weird whitish red tint. And so the sun is setting, I'm facing west, and so I'm getting this real red.
Yeah, I noticed that in one of the other videos that we did.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to reorientate this the next time.
That's funny. So you should be able to score and peel that off if you don't like it.
I could probably
sprayed on the glass. Is it meant to stick and peel, or
no? It's just I could scrape it off with a razor blade.
Oh, okay. It's that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I think next time I'll spin and face that way.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just hang a sheet over the glass.
Oh, maybe. Maybe open up your doors.
Yeah. I'm afraid to open the doors.
Sunbeam.
Because then we'll hear the outside sound.
Oh, yeah.
The cars going by and whatnot.
Yeah, you have a wood mill in your area too, right?
There's a lumber mill 2 blocks from me.
And you can't buy milled lumber there, right?
No, I can buy scrap.
You can't go and get a 2x4 down at your local mill right down the street.
No.
God, that would be awesome.
They sell it wholesale. Semi-trucks leave with it.
So, but if you were going to build a house, potentially you think you could buy some pallets of wholesale wood?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
There are a few, I mean, because we're here in Oregon, we've got a lot of trees, and there are a lot of mills. And every time I go buy one, I look to see how I can get in. Like, is it open to the public? Is it open to business owners? Is there any way that I could buy wholesale lumber? That would be awesome.
It would.
But I haven't found that to be the case.
Yeah. There's another mill just outside of town that does more your dimensional lumber. This does kind of unique things. They make these wooden channel, like a metal channel. Like there's boy, my brain is all foggy.
Like a right angle bracket, and I-beams.
Like there's right angle channel. Yeah. Too far away. I could almost reach my scrap pile. But they make channeled wood product. Where so instead of a 6x6, it has the outer dimension of 6x6, but then the 2 inches in or an inch in, they cut down and then over and up, so it makes a U.
Yeah.
It's like channel iron, but it's out of wood. Long spans of it.
And what do they do with that? Is that stuff that goes over like I-beams or metal stuff?
I don't know, but they have all kinds of crazy stuff like that there.
Huh. And you said that you could buy scraps there. That's a good segue into what we were going to talk about in our podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Using scraps and repurposing materials, not just wood, but materials. Yeah. So have you gone down and picked through their scraps at all, or seen what kind of
I bought
material they have?
I bought a pickup load of scrap wood from them. In fact, I got a piece on the floor right in front of me. I did this like 2 years ago. Just mill end pieces. This is a piece cut off, and they're all sort of firewood length. Wood. This is 1x6, maybe. And I burned most of it. I saved some after I realized, hey, I could make stuff out of this. But it was $25 for a full-size pickup load.
Really? So they just take a front loader and just dump it with whatever they have, or what?
You load it by hand.
So you can pick and choose.
Yeah, there's a big pile. You can back your truck up, and then you go inside and pay the front desk, and
wow,
you just throw it in.
Do they have any like 2-3 foot, anything longer than that, or is it all kind of that size?
Yep, it's all kind of already firewood size.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I would think that would be good if you're kind of desperate and you need some firewood. I'm sure that stuff makes pretty good kindling. Is it all kiln drying stuff?
Oh yeah, $25 for a full size pickup. Dry wood
stuff.
Yeah, that's
but you think you could get enough scraps to make little wooden boxes, little bins to store screws and stuff?
Oh yeah.
Good wood to make cutting boards. Like what kind of wood?
It's
mostly
fir. Probably not great cutting boards, but you could make a hell of a birdhouse business.
Oh yeah, totally. You could make a birdhouse and sell it for $25.
Yeah,
and make your truck full of
yeah,
you know, your one-time purchase back, selling one birdhouse. Yeah, well, that's a great idea. I didn't realize that you got to pick and choose. I thought that they just kind of scooped up and dumped. And
I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't. I guess you could pick and choose. I wouldn't pick and choose. It's just a big pile of scrap.
Yeah, but while you're loading,
not
you
always
found one that's pretty nasty or whatever, you could toss it aside.
Oh, sure. Or just throw it in the truck and burn it.
Yeah. Are there a lot of raw edges, like a lot of bark edges too, or literally it looks?
Yeah, it's finished lumber.
So it's like the end cuts of dimensional
of whatever it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So the time I went,
a 2x4 8-foot 2x4 and it's 9 feet, they're going to cut off that one piece and
Yep.
1 foot piece and throw it in there. So,
Yep.
oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Except they didn't have that time. They didn't have 2x4s. They had 3x3s and this 1x stuff.
Okay.
And the 1x was different widths. Some of it was 8 inches. Some of it were 10. Some of it was this size. And 3x3s, like 1 foot long, 16-inch long 3x3s.
Nice. And so you burned most of that
Oh yeah.
stuff that you got. You specifically bought it to burn.
I bought it to burn, and then I ended up saving probably 20, 30 pieces and just use them for random stuff. But if I go another time, I will purposely save quite a large stack for projects.
Yeah. So did you just have a lot of green firewood, or did you run out of firewood that year?
It's when I first moved here.
Oh.
When I didn't have much firewood.
Oh, okay.
It was kind of before I started, before we would go out in the woods.
Yeah.
It's a fair amount of effort to fill a full-size truck full of scrap lumber by hand.
Yeah.
If you had a couple of teenage kids,
sure it is.
If you had a couple of teenage kids, it would be worthwhile because you could just stand there and they could throw it in the truck.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it'd be worth it though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. You also go to a metal scrap
I do
area to buy, and I've been there. They're pretty good. Like there's a very huge variety of different scraps that they have, but it's also a metal yard where you can buy angle iron, you can buy square tubing, you can buy.
They sell new steel, and then they have this area just full of bins, and you buy the scrap by the pound, and it comes in. It's different every time. Sometimes there can be huge links of a ship chain, chains with links this big.
Yeah.
And other times it's full of just little pieces of cutoff from some project somewhere. Some dude just had all these little cutoffs. And I haven't been in probably a year because of this pandemic thing, and then just wasn't making stuff. But I typically go through and find pieces that are 18 inches, 2 foot long, and bring that home. Although I'm sitting on top of a bundle of 4 pieces of rebar that, if it were straight, would probably be 8 feet long, but they're bent in this weird shape.
I think we got those when I was with you.
Maybe.
We stopped in when we went to go to the Wood Miser open house.
Mm-hmm.
We stopped by there, and I ended up not getting anything because I'm a cheapskate, and I wanted actually a better price than what they were selling stuff for. But I had a chance to look through the yard.
Yeah.
I mean, they got like random things, like a big metal disc. They got things that would probably make for a good starter anvil, not an anvil, but a metal that you could use, and that's some little I-beam stuff and tons of tubing and just
random. There's fabricators out there that they have all kinds of weird cutoff, and they put it in these big bins, and this outfit comes and picks it up, and they probably pay them pennies per pound just to dispose of it, and then they resell it to the public for 25 cents a pound or $1 a pound. I don't know how much I pay, but it's considerably less than new steel prices.
Yeah.
And it's great to practice welding on. You just get random little stuff. I've been making, shelving bracket and just weird things. Watch my videos. You'll see what I make. Weird little things.
Yeah.
I got.
How's that Vulcan? How's that Vulcan? Is that what it is?
Yes, it's a Vulcan MigMax 215
Yeah.
welder.
How's that going for you? Still liking it?
Oh yeah, it's great. It's a much better welder than I am. I don't think I'll ever. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's way more welder than I have skill for. Way
Yeah.
more welder.
Yeah.
I started out with that $99 cheap welder, and it didn't take long for me to surpass the ability of that welder, and so I bought their nicer welder. It's comparable to a Miller, but it's yeah, it's I have it hooked up 220, and I have shielding gas. Yeah, it's just nice. It's nice. It's much nicer. It's I can set it to auto setting, or I can manually set it. I don't really play with the auto setting, but I think that would be a good thing for a beginner. I just figure out the gauge I'm going to weld and just look at the chart and adjust the power to the chart. I do it simple.
Nice.
Like me, simpleton.
Yeah. Well, I've got your old Chicago electric welder here, and I ran out of was it the Miller welding wire that was in it?
Oh, yeah.
You had said that somebody gave you a hint to use better wire in it.
Yeah.
And I ran out of that, and I started using the stuff that came with it or the Harbor Freight stuff, and
yeah,
frustrating. Like it's different. It's different because it just kind of suck at it.
Yeah, that Miller stuff I was using, you can buy at Home Depot or Lowe's, and the wire is more expensive than the Harbor Freight wire, but it's worth it. I mean, instead of, I don't remember the prices. You probably pay double, but it's the kind of wire that you can re-weld over the top of. Whereas the Harbor Freight stuff, you're not supposed to re-weld. Once you weld it, you're not supposed to re-weld.
Oh.
Whereas the Miller, you can make another pass over the top of it and basically melt it and re-weld over the top.
Oh, okay.
So it's more
I think
forgiving.
that's gonna definitely have to be another topic on another podcast is talk about welding, because there are a lot of things that I'd like to know. And I know you're not an expert, but you know more than I do. And perhaps we'll have a listener that can give us some tips or let us know who they watch or something too. But yeah, I worked on a metal project. I welded a handle, I guess, to a rolly cart to pull behind our lawnmower, and the welds just failed. So I'll talk about that some other time, I guess. But we were talking about scraps and going to that scrap yard, using scrap metal that you have around to make brackets or, things to hold stuff. And
my mom, or your mother-in-law, wants a receptor hitch step made for her truck.
Oh.
So I have some 2-inch tube steel in here. It's overpowered for a step, but it's what I got. I got it for a hitch project that I never did. But I'll make a receptor hitch with a come down and maybe a license plate size frame with some stretched. You can see it in the background. Some stretched. Stretched metal on it. So mud and stuff.
Lighter weight.
Yeah, lighter weight, and it's going to be really heavy because it's 3/8 inch steel.
Is that something that's meant to stay in there, or do we put in every time she needs to step up.
Put it in every time she wants to. I mean, I'll drill it and put a pin so she could drive around with it. But it'd be one heck of a knee knock. I mean, a
Oh, oh man, split that shin in half. God,
oh,
I hate
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh, I hate that. I saw a picture not long ago. It was like a redneck landmine or something like that. It was a picture of all these trailer hitches in a row down a sidewalk. I'm like, oh man, it sucks.
Yeah, when dudes back into the parking spot next to a sidewalk to a store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that would be the issue of having a step, like her driving around with that, because it's could even be lower than a trailer.
Yeah, it will be lower. She wants it 2 to 3 inches lower than the receptor.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's she ordered a canopy with double doors on the back.
She did. Okay, good.
Like the canopy I had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, where you take the tailgate off and you have double doors, and she wants to be able to step on the step and then step on the bumper and then climb in the back of her truck.
Yeah.
Which
Good.
makes sense.
Good.
But it's going to be overbuilt.
Yeah. Oh, well. Because you're using scraps.
Because I'm using scraps. I mean, that's what I got.
Yeah. That's cool. I, on the other hand, so I like to repurpose stuff and I like to use scrap stuff. And the only time I really ever buy any material is if I'm working on a project like a remodel project or building walls or something like that.
Yeah.
And probably most because I'm cheap or poor,
Yeah.
My wife's got the job and she pays the bills and we have the rent and everything's paid for. And I find I don't know, I don't ask her for money, so I'll make some money on a few jobs here and there, but most of the time I repurpose things like those fence boards that I grabbed from your house.
Mm-hmm.
I think would make great birdhouses, or it would make a nice accent wall like this. This
Mm-hmm.
is all pallet wood. It's free wood.
Yeah.
I've got a few projects I've done with pallet wood, and I'll pick up scrap wood from Craigslist sometimes. It's free scrapped, or if I'm working on rebuilding something, I'll take the old wood that's still got some good life to it. I'll bring it home. I have, do you know what brick molding is? So on the outside of your house, like around the garage doors and stuff, they use
it's like the faux brick.
It's what?
The faux brick, the fake brick?
No, it's wood. It's wood. It's 2.5 inch wide, but it's really thick on one end because it frames your door of your brick house, and then it kind of goes inward. And it's called brick molding. Basically, it's just kind of a milled molding that goes around the frame and windows of your house. I don't like it. We've got some of it here, but I did a job and it was some dry rot stuff, and I replaced 2 garage door trims with new brick molding. And I brought the old stuff home because it still had some good life to it, but the bottom sections of it was just all dry rotted out. And I couldn't just take out the 2 sides and replace it because I wanted it to be perfect around the top, and it was nailed on and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I brought that stuff home, I milled it down, and I've got picture frame. I'm turned it into picture frame molding, kind of a rustic look. And I started that video probably 2 years ago, and I can't find the footage from it. I think I lost the footage from that from a couple years ago when something happened. I lost like 3 projects I was working on. I lost the footage for, and it was, I think I even mentioned it during one of my live streams that I used to do. And but I still have it here. I haven't turned it into, like, I haven't framed anything yet, but I've milled it up and it's ready to be cut and framed. And Alex has some cool artwork that he did a few years ago that I think this rustic white molding that I have turned into a frame would look nice around it, with the mat and stuff, and stuff like that. I helped somebody replace a 4x6 beam across their porch, and we cut it into about 4-foot sections because it was so heavy. The old stuff we were cutting and dropping it after we had built a temporary support wall, and I dragged 3 of those sections home with me. You know why? I don't know. I'll find a use for it somewhere, but like
worst case, you make firewood out of it.
I could. It's painted.
Oh,
You know, we don't burn painted wood here. It's not right. But I was thinking that I could probably sand or plane the pieces, and if I got all that off, they might become legs to my TV entertainment stand that I want to build, you know, that kind of stuff. So I keep 18 inches or larger pieces of wood is what I keep in my shop. 2x4s, 1x, 2x stuff, you know. Plywood, I've probably, that looks about 18 inches.
Maybe 16, 14.
16? Yeah. Anything smaller than that, it goes into the firewood bin. But
this is an extra piece from the 2x4 I milled to make the trim around my electrical meter.
Right. And that was just used scrap wood you had laying around. You milled it down to.
I have a large pile of warped 2x6s in my backyard that you helped me disassemble. And so I will take those and just run it through my table saw and make rough cuts of things I need. And like this is an example of one of them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use some of that 2x6 in a few weeks to make I can never say the word correctly, Adirondack chair.
Adirondack.
Yes. My girlfriend Amy wants a new Adirondack chair.
Oh.
And I said that if she wants it out of scrap wood, I got plenty of scrap wood, and we could make it together.
Oh, that'd be nice.
One of these weekends in a couple weeks, let's see if I can get off my lazy butt and video it.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
We'll make I'll make a chair for her backyard out of my scrap 2x6.
And April Wilkerson just put out a video yesterday, and I haven't watched it yet, but she made a foldable Adirondack chair, which I thought was pretty cool. I'm not sure if it's her design or not. She's pretty good about saying where she got designs and stuff like that too. But if you haven't watched that, I'm gonna check it out probably tonight. So I'm assuming you don't want to start off with building your first Adirondack chair to have it be foldable, especially if you're having help with Amelia helping you. But
so most of them I've seen are made with 1x material. So it's fairly thin wood, like this. But this is going to be all 2x6, so it's going to be very heavy.
Yeah. And an Adirondack chair is supposed to be kind of fairly simple to make, right? So the seat portion turns into the hind leg that goes off in a whatever degree, and then you've got your front leg, which turns into the arm rest, right? So we have a fire pit here. I think it would be really nice. In my head, I have a design to make an Adirondack chair that's taller for us larger folk. So we're not squatting down so low. And I don't know if you could call it an Adirondack chair that I have, you know, in mind, but it's definitely, I want that to have the slope and because the Adirondack, they're super comfortable.
Yeah.
And I like how your legs lean back and how your back is at a good angle, but trying to get out of that thing is just kind of where the pain,
Yeah.
the,
So
the,
this
the
one I'm
issues
gonna make
happen.
might be kind of love seat sized. So maybe two regular people could sit side by side, or one large person could sit next to one petite person.
Yeah, which is what you got going on? You and I, we wouldn't be able to sit together
Probably
like
not.
this.
I mean, then it would be an Adirondack couch.
Ouch,
So
yeah.
fun.
And we could call it the Adirondack Chair.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So I guess basically this podcast is like, hey, don't throw away all your wood. Keep some scraps. There's
Yeah,
always something to do with it.
yeah.
The issue is trying to find place to store all your scraps.
Become a hoarder. What we're saying is hoard.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
anything you throw away could be used to make something. So don't throw it away.
Exactly. And when you think that you might be saving too much stuff and your shop is full, go watch an episode of Hoarders, and then you'll feel like, oh, I ain't that bad. I hardly have anything,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it makes you feel good inside. So.
This little mic stand right here, this piece of 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch tube steel is from the scrapyard. It's scrap. And I vice clamped it to my gantry. And then I used a hose clamp on this large bolt. And then I put a large nut, and then I put a small bolt through it and pinched the mic on it.
Yeah, look at that.
It used to be on this little stand.
Cool. Well, hopefully the mic situation that we've had the last couple episodes is taken care of, and this sounds good.
Yeah, the last episode, you could barely hear me. So trying this a lot closer, see how that works.
We'll see how it does. So Andrew, if people wanted to find us, we now officially have an audio podcast that you could download now.
Yes. So go out there where you find your fine podcasts on Apple and Spotify and Libsyn and Android app, all those sort of places. And in theory, you can find the Bearded Brothers Podcast. That's our name, the Bearded Brothers Podcast. And check it out.
Is it all one word or multiple? Like, does it matter? I'm sure we're not the only Bearded Brother podcast out there either.
Yes. I didn't find any others that were named the Bearded Brothers Podcast. I found the Bearded Bros and then variations of the Bearded.
Okay.
So
hopefully we'll be the only Bearded Brothers podcast
hopefully
out there on your podcast hubs that you listen to.
Yeah.
So that would be fantastic. If you guys did not want to continue watching us on the YouTube, we'll have hopefully a link down in the description of where you could, or
you could download these to with your favorite podcast app, and then listen to us as you're driving to work, or let us play in the background as you're working in the shop, or let it play as a torture device for prisoners that you're trying to get valuable information from. Just play us on a loop over and over.
Oh, that'd be cool too.
Yeah.
You could loop it up. Maybe you could we could be the new elevator music. Instead of music, you could have the elevator podcast of the two bearded brothers in the background. And if you enjoy what you're listening to, share the link or pass along to people that you think might enjoy listening to a couple of guys ramble about YouTube and working in the shop.
Yep.
That would be awesome. And eventually, hopefully that will help us out help us grow. The more downloads we get, I assume the higher we come in the ranking when people are looking for podcasts, what to listen to and such. And since this is our official second podcast, we don't expect anything to happen right away, but it all starts somewhere, and it could start.
Yeah, I think some of the idea we're thinking about is we each have our own YouTube channel with our own content, and this shared podcast will augment each of our channels, and well, hopefully we do a little cross pollination. You know, some of your viewers may become some of my viewers, and some of my viewers may become some of your viewers. And maybe we can turn people on to some other podcasters and or YouTubers out there, like Amy Wilkerson.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Or Adam Savage, or who else do we watch? I don't know. Name a person.
Jimmy DiResta.
Yeah, Jimmy DiResta.
Yeah,
I met him.
You know, so I'm really inspired by the Making It podcast. If you guys haven't listened to Making It podcast, Jimmy DiResta, Bob Claggett, and David Picciuto, it's kind of what inspired me to want to revisit what Andrew wanted to do a couple of years ago. And Making It has been doing it for about 5 years now. They're over 200 and some odd podcasts they do once a week. So I just kind of want to thank them for getting me inspired to want to do this. And Andrew, thank you for suggesting it too. And hopefully this thing will turn into something interesting and you guys will enjoy listening to what you hear. And hopefully we got the audio fixed and it is pleasant to your ears.
It'll be a work in progress, trying to get it dialed in. It may take us 3 or 4 more episodes before we figure this out. Yeah. But that's kind of how YouTube was too. Yeah. Took experimentation, trial and error. Yeah. And look at us now. Between the two of us, we have almost 8,000 viewers.
Yeah. Oh, Andrew, who you been watching? You been watching anything? Reading? Anything you recommend?
Boy, I really have been watching a lot of, I said this last week, a lot of Tesla videos and solar videos, because that is the big project in my life right now is putting solar on my house. And one of the reasons I'm doing solar on the house is I have a reservation in for a Tesla Cybertruck.
Yeah.
And I have just been eating up reading articles about the Cybertruck and watching YouTube videos of what people think the Cybertruck will be like.
Have you seen the video of, is it the Hacksmith, where he's made a 1/2 scale, I think, of the Cybertruck?
No.
He's got a whole series of videos where they literally take pictures and specs that they can, and they recreate their own little Cybertruck in stainless steel frame and everything like that. It's actually quite funny. I don't know I can't remember if they're done with it. I've seen 3 or 4 of the videos or something.
I can't remember the gentleman's name, but there's a design engineer who's worked on the big regular trucks, Ford, Chevy, GM, Dodge. And he has an example of each of those trucks in his shop. They're brand new. They're all up on lifts, and he'll get underneath the truck and talk about suspension or the drivetrain or different things. And then he'll go to a board and discuss how the Cybertruck will be and the differences in clearance and regenerative braking and the air shocks and all that sort of stuff. And it's been very interesting.
So you kind of can get a visual between old and new, like
because the current trucks are frame on body, meaning there's a classic just 2 long rails, frame, and then there's suspension built on that, and then the drivetrain set in there, and then a body set on top. That's the basic design. I mean, it's kind of changed over the years, but it's still basically that way. It's just 2 long rails with a drivetrain and then a body on top. Well, the Cybertruck is an exoskeleton. There is no frame. The outer, I got a mosquito right here.
Don't inhale it.
Yeah, the skin of the truck is very angular, but that is the frame. So there will be no rails. It will just be like a Tupperware bin
Yeah, yeah.
with they call it a skateboard, where there will be a battery in it, and then there'll be motors in the front and back, and then down to the wheels. So there won't be the classic drivetrain. There won't be a bunch of stuff underneath. It'll be basically smooth, which
Yeah.
is going
So
to give
no
it
exhaust pipes, no muffler, no drive shaft,
Nope.
no clutch,
Nope.
or
Nope.
a transmission. Like,
Yep. So right now, full-size trucks have between like a 8 and 10-inch clearance, meaning they could drive over a 8-inch rock and it won't hit anything. The Cybertruck will have a 18-inch clearance.
like a Hummer.
Yes.
Nice.
And that's at its highest setting, and then it can just lower. So it can lower down to a lower height.
For when driving on the freeway or something.
Yeah.
Or city and
Yeah. So if you don't want to climb into a big tall truck, you'll just go
nice.
get in, and then you can raise it to however high you want.
Will it be airbags or
what?
Electric? How are they
shots.
doing that? Do you know? Air shots?
Because it'll have an onboard air compressor.
Right.
So you'll be able to hook up your nail gun and stuff to it. There'll be an outlet in the back in the cargo area. There'll also be a 110 outlet and a 220 outlet in the cargo area. So
nice.
You could pull up to a job site and run your power tools.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Or you can use it as an extension cord, right?
Yeah.
A job box. So you plug in your Cybertruck, and then you can run everything off your Cybertruck and not burn out your battery. Or what do they call it? The spider box?
Yeah.
Yeah. Use your Cybertruck is one of those.
If you start out with a full charge in the morning and you're not driving very far, let's say you're driving 20 miles.
Yeah.
You could pretty much run power tools all day long.
And welder?
I don't know about welder. Maybe a couple of welding jobs, but I don't think you could weld all day. But you could run circular saws.
That would be awesome.
You could run circular saws and
run
the onboard compressor and run, all that sort of stuff at a job site and then drive home.
Yeah.
Plug your truck back in.
Be fantastic.
The next day, do it all over.
Huh. Maybe I should put a little down payment. $100? Is that all I need?
$100 reserves your truck.
Oh. Okay, cool.
And then if you opt out, you get your $100 back.
Oh, that's cool too. I'd be willing just to give my $100 away if I opt out. Yeah.
Well, you get it back.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. We've been still finishing up the Marvel superhero movies.
Oh yeah.
I talked about. We just watched Black Panther, but
the first Black Panther or the second one?
The first one.
I really liked that one.
Yeah.
Well, I liked both of them, but yeah.
It was good. It's good. And then Sarah and I have been kind of binge watching The Walking Dead. So we cut the cable last year. And I was a big Walking Dead fan. Like I watched it. And then we got rid of cable. And it's been a year and a half now. Excuse me. And so I left it off, and I hadn't seen it. I've been waiting for it to come back on, Netflix or whatever it does. I have to wait a whole year before that season comes in. And I knew my wife would like the show. but she just can't handle the gore that it has. But I knew she would like it, and I don't know what prompted us to start watching it again. But she watched it and she got hooked, and so we've been enjoying watching The Walking Dead. We're on halfway through season 5 right now, and I feel like we just started it a week or so ago.
Nice.
So we stay up later than we typically do. So I used to watch a lot of videos before I go to bed on my YouTube videos, and because we're staying up watching episode or 2 of The Walking Dead after Alex goes to bed, we just go to bed and I go to sleep now. So I haven't been watching much YouTube lately, but every night we're watching a Marvel movie, and then we're watching The Walking Dead too. So
that's a great thing.
Yeah. So it's awesome too, because then that gives, like, when I watched it, I would have to wait for you to watch that episode or whatever so I could talk about it, right? Like, you were the only person I really knew that was watching it, and I wanted to like get it off, and then all of a sudden you stopped watching it and I had nobody to talk to.
What season did I stop at? 5 or 6 or something?
No. It was season 5 starts off with Terminus. So you still watched when they met.
I got to Negan.
Yeah. So we haven't got to that yet, but you stopped at that, and then when certain other people were dying, you didn't know anything about it, so I haven't been able to talk about it.
Yeah.
So
there was
a lot of the episodes I'm watching it looks brand new to me. Like, it's been so long since I've seen them, but I know who's in future videos, so I know certain people aren't going to die because I've seen, remember seeing them in this season. There are people that come and go that I don't remember. There are situations that happen to them that I forgot, but it's kind of cool to watch it, and then right afterwards, Sarah and I can talk a little bit about it, and I can get her views, and it's cool. It's cool. So I think after we're done with The Walking Dead, we might watch Breaking Bad again.
I watched all but like the last 3 episodes of Breaking Bad, and then
really
I lost interest. I was like, well, I don't know how it ended. There's like 3 more episodes, and I have no idea.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, well, maybe you can start watching it again when we start watching it again. We can all have our little talk about it. Anyways, so I don't know how long we've been on here, but
let's wrap it up.
Probably a good time to stop. We'll wrap it up. Just wanted to say what we're working on. We have a little topic, and then what we've been watching. And we appreciate you guys listening to us. And if you, again, like what you're listening to, pass this along to other people you think that might enjoy us. If you're watching this YouTube video, feel free to share this video with others as well. Put it up on your Facebook page too, or give us a thumbs up and like and comment.
And watch the other guy's video. If you watch this on Gary's channel, check out some of my videos. If you're watching the video on my channel, check out some of his stuff.
Yeah, that would really help us out too. So if you guys are nice followers of the Bearded Woodworker and you have not seen Andrew yet, go ahead, check him out. Give him a little like and a subscribe. That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
So
have a great
watching, guys. And listening.
Thanks for joining us, and go out and make something.
Go out and make something. I like it. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.